Hello and welcome to a new video here on the Giant Take YouTube channel. My name is Josh and I'm going to be talking about the Schoen, Brian Daboll end of season press conference. Very exciting stuff here. I'm going to go through all the quotes. I'm going to be looking back and forth from my computer and the phone here, which I'm recording on, so I hope the audio and video sounds okay. I'm excited to talk about it. Hopefully I'll get some B-roll in here. It depends how much photos and videos I'm able to find from the press conference, so maybe just not me reading the quotes, but you actually seeing them from Schoen/Daboll, depending on who answers. I'll see how much I'm able to do behind the scenes production-wise. But first of all, let's start out with the two guys, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. I had trouble there for a second. Both of those guys the first few questions were about them, so let's talk about it. So Schoen strongly hinted that Daniel Jones is going to make a return to the Giants. Not as much for Saquon Barkley. We'll have to see why in a second. Schoen said, quote, "We like Daniel to be here." He mentions the business side, but there it is. We would like to have Daniel Jones back.
We'd like Daniel to be here. Again, he said it yesterday. There's a business side to it, but we feel like Daniel played well this season. He's done everything that we asked him to do, and again, there's a business side to it. We haven't went down that road yet. We still got to have our meetings with our staff late in the week, and we'll devise an off-season plan. But we haven't had those meetings yet, but we would like to have Daniel Jones back.
Why do you want Daniel back, and why do you think he can take this team, get another trophy with this, if you do think he can?
Yeah, I've said it all year. He's done everything that we've asked him to do as an offensive staff, and he's done a really good job with operating and executing our offense. I think he's made strides in a lot of different areas. Certainly, we can all make strides and more, but he's been a good leader for us. He's played the quarterback position well for us, and I'm happy we had him.
When it comes to Saquon Barkley, yesterday when the Giants were kind of cleaning out their lockers and getting ready for the offseason, some guys not going to return to that Giants locker room again. Reporters were able to catch up with Saquon Barkley, and Barkley said, quote, "I'm not really too concerned about resetting any running back markets or anything like that." He also said, quote, "I'm realistic." So what does that mean for Saquon Barkley? It looks like he's looking for a deal between $11 million, which is what he would get on the franchise tag, and $16 million, which Christian McCaffrey got signed in April of 2020. Seems like it would land closer to McCaffrey's deal than to the franchise tag. But continuing off of that, it seemed like the Giants have a certain number that they won't go above when it comes to giving Saquon Barkley a new contract, and it might be better off picking up the franchise tag in order for the running back to stay around. Why do I say that? Because Schoen in his press conference really alluded to, yes, Daniel Jones, we want him back. But then when talking about Saquon Barkley, he said, quote, Saquon's a good player, a great teammate. He's a guy we'd like to have back. So he's both saying the same thing for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, but you kind of just had to be there, not be there, but you kind of just had to watch it or listen to it. I'm sure it's out there on like the Giants' various platforms that they use to distribute their content. It just seems like Schoen.
Is that somebody also you would like to keep, and is the franchise tag a possibility with you?
Yeah, again, this is a special team. To me, it was my first year. We'd like to have all the guys back. I really would, but there's a business side to it, and there's rules that you need to operate under in terms of the salary cap. And he's a good player. He's a great teammate. I love getting to know him this season, and he's a guy we would like to have back. It's just, again, we haven't had our end of season meetings yet. We're less than 48 hours after that game, so everybody's going to step back, take the emotion out of it, evaluate the roster, and then again, we got to operate under a salary cap. How are you going to divvy up? How we're going to create the roster? What are the priority positions, and how we're going to move forward? But we would like to have Saquon back if it works out.
Had a little bit more to elaborate on with Daniel Jones and bringing him back rather than with Saquon Barkley. I just didn't catch the same drift there. He didn't seem to commit to Saquon coming back as to what he committed to with Jones, because he was like, Jones is we really want him to come back. And then it's Barkley. It's like, he's a really good player. We're going to have to discuss with the agents. We're going to have to talk with the representatives. We're going to have to see what happens. Like, it was more like we're going to have to see how it goes mode, where Jones was, yeah, we want him back. He's going to, we're hoping to have him back in the New York Giants uniform. So it's a little bit different there. I think at the end of things, I'm very much hoping so that the New York Giants, if they don't, if they aren't able to get right with the money talks with Saquon Barkley's agents, that they just bring him back in the franchise tag, and it is what it is. At least he's back. Jones, I see coming back to the New York Giants, definitely. I think he earned that contract 100% there. Moving on from Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones talk. Actually, never mind. I'll continue with that by saying that Giants and Barkley's Talks during the bye week negotiations were not close. Shane confirmed that. I know some people had it up in the air that, Saquon Barkley and his representatives, as well as the New York Giants during this bye week time in the mid-season, I should say, of the mid-2022 season, we're having talks and negotiations about Saquon Barkley coming back. Yeah, Shane said to the media today, they were not close. There was nothing really close to getting a deal done at that point. It's also mid-season. It's a hard time to do that. You only have a few days to do it while Saquon's not really practicing with the team. So there you go with that. Joe Schoen jokingly discussed Leonard Williams' pay cut comments. Although it was jokingly, not so jokingly, Leonard Williams seems like he might take a pay cut to stay with the New York Giants, which is a really good thing. We hope to keep Leonard Williams around, although he didn't have as much of a productive season as he has had in the past few seasons with the New York Giants since he's arrived from the crosstown rivals that share the same stadium, the New York Jets. It would be nice to have a veteran presence like Williams, especially if the New York Giants are looking to get more defensive tackles on this roster during the draft or free agency, more cornerbacks, more linebackers, those positions that the Giants need kind of desperately from what we saw against this Eagles team, and better teams in the NFL than the Eagles, or up to that level that are better than the Giants. If we want to bring in those young guys in free agency, but more in the draft, and having a guy like a veteran of Leonard Williams to help bring these guys in, introduce them to the defensive plan that hopefully Wink Martindale, if he doesn't get the cold job, stays in, and continues to institute. Someone who already knows that and already knows the NFL pretty well because they've been in the NFL for years now, as Williams has. It would be nice for him to stick around and help those youngsters and develop chemistry in the locker room. So Shane, he knows about those jokes when it comes to the pay cut. We'll see if they're real or not during the offseason. Dexter Lawrence, it's a good update there. They talked about Dexter Lawrence in the press conference. It seems like Joe Schoen wants to bring back Dexter Lawrence. I think he gets brought back. And I was looking also at Art Stapleton, NorthJersey.com writer for the New York Giants, does great stuff there with them. He also tweeted out that Dexter Lawrence, it looks like he's going to come back. So I'm interested to see what happens there. But it looks like Dexter Lawrence, he's going to come back, but it looks like Dexter Lawrence will get a new contract and a new and more money with the Giants. Actually, is he a UFA? I'm trying to remember now. I believe actually he is a UFA. So hopefully he comes back to this team. I think he will come back to this team. We'll have to wait and see again during the offseason. Oddly enough, this guy always gets brought back up with the Giants. He used to be on the team years ago. He's not on the team anymore. He won the Super Bowl with the Rams. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Odell Beckham. In this press conference with Joe Schoen, GM of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, HG, head coach of the New York Giants, at the end of the 2022 season, after they just made it to the divisional round when no one expected them to do so, we're talking about the future of this team. Why does an Odell Beckham question have to get brought up in this? I really just don't understand it. I get that they had a dinner throughout the season. I get that the Giants were looking at Odell Beckham to bring in on a contract. They didn't have the cap room for it. There was no reason to have that. That was just a fun and games little thing. Maybe Shane had the dinner with him.
How was that dinner with Odell Beckham? And is he a player you're going to revisit going into the spring?
Yeah, the dinner was good. And, we're going to consider, again, when we have this off-season meeting, every position, who's available, who are the players that are potential that we could sign. And, again, we'll devise the plan from there. But that's kind of where we are right now.
Because he was going to look at him as an option in free agency, Shane knew that what Odell wanted and his agents wanted was money that the Giants that the Giants front office didn't have cap room wise. Shane was asked about this offseason compared to last offseason because he has money now to work with. He was saying, first of all, I never want to go into the offseason. I want this season to have continued, but it is what it is. But yes, in the way that you're talking about, I'm happy that I'm able to have more money to kind of work around and look at free agents and stuff like that. So I thought that was a good question. I forgot who asked it, but yeah, complete different scenario from when Shane came in, knowing he really couldn't do that much when it comes to free agents and signing veteran. He said, signing veteran players throughout the season this year, we really wanted to do it, but we just couldn't. We just didn't have the money to move in order to make those signings. So he's it seems like he's really excited, as it's his first year as a GM in the NFL, to be able to have money to make quality moves in free agency, make cuts, make the draft picks and stuff. I know he did last year, but it's a little bit different now. He's got money to work with. So super exciting stuff. But yeah, about the Odell Beckham question, very odd, but Shane said dinner was good with Odell Beckham Jr. over the season. On his free agency visit, he says the Giants will get together. They're going to formulate that free agency plan starting next week. So we'll see what the Giants tackle in free agency. I assume they're going to bring in a wide receiver of some sort. I don't know if it's going to be one of those top quality wide receivers in free agency and he's going to be throwing a lot of money their way, or it's going to be a guy kind of down the depth chart, number 2, number 3 wide receiver. We'll have to see. But I do think one wide receiver will be signed in free agency for the New York Giants. Joe Schoen also said the Giants have not discussed any timetable when it comes to contract negotiations. The staff meetings on the personal side will be on this Thursday. So that's Tuesday the 24th, Wednesday the 25th, Thursday, January 26th. So that is all I have for you when it comes to the Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll press conference. I always feel, not always, but at least in this one, I felt bad for Brian Daboll because the man only answered 2 questions out of 20 questions. He just was sitting there. But I guess that's honestly good for Brian Daboll because I'm sure he doesn't want to answer questions, and it's more about the future of the New York Giants. So credit to Joe Schoen. I thought he did a really good job in here, and credit to Brian Daboll. Those 2 guys have crafted a season that no one expected, and they did it pretty freaking well. So a good job to those 2. Just wanted to recap their end-of-season press conference. To recap this video, I just wanted to say you can hit the subscribe button down below, drop a like, really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time for another video on the Giant Take YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Peace.